And hello everyone, and welcome back to week 57 of our Minecraft Let's Play series. How are you all doing? I hope you're all doing very well this fine week. But yeah, this week I actually have a decent amount planned that's a little bit different from what we've been doing the past few weeks, because I'll be honest, it probably is getting monotonous for you guys to see me do the same thing over and over. But without any dilly-dallying, let's actually get to what we're doing. So here is our to-do list for this week. Now, obviously we have the usual. We've got our mining village here where I'm going to possibly attempt to actually dig out one of the levels, probably in the stone area, and see how well we can decorate it. Then of course we've got the villager hall where I want to put in more villagers, probably turn them into librarians as per usual, and maybe even get some decorations in there. And then I also want to go ahead and do some base improvements because I do actually finally have a smelting system. I went ahead and took the time between weeks to work on something and test it out, so we finally have a design and I want to show you guys it and probably implement it into our world this week as well. And then finally on here I have a Sculk farm because I realized that for my mining village I had said that I want the bottom layer to be very ancient city-like, or at least be the deep dark. So I thought about it and I was like, we're gonna need a lot of Sculk for that, so having a farm would not be a bad idea. And with that I went ahead and collected a bunch of materials for all that, as you can see here, and that is actually what we're going to be doing first. So without further ado, I'm going to go ahead, head to the end, and I will meet you guys for building it. But first I've realized that I actually need some glass, and I'm going to be honest, we don't have a lot in here. So I'm going to go ahead and smelt out a decent amount. 5 for a source, but at least I went ahead and grabbed sand between weeks too. Okay, now that we're in the end, I have decided that where I'm going to be building this farm is not in this direction because we have the Enderman farm over there. Not in this direction because this is technically the Shulker farm. Not in that direction because this would be the Wood Rose farm, so that leaves this direction. And I would also just like to say that for building this farm, I have both a full stack of firework rockets and a almost full set of elytra because I am not treading any type of water with this, because I am already afraid of building this farm. So the first thing we gotta do is get down to Y level 0, which for that we gotta place some lava first, then some water. I did that out of order. Alright, because I'm waiting too long for that water to go down, we'll actually place the rock pillar here. And then I need to grab these leaves that I have. Alright, now that the lava's gone, it is time to bridge at y equals 0. I am nervous. This isn't the first time I've done something like this. This is why I have rockets, by the way. We gotta go out about 130 blocks, which is why I have 3 stacks, even though it's a lot more than 130 blocks. I didn't feel like counting. Alright, that's 130. You know what, I'm gonna make a platform out here too. And now I'm finally able to go ahead and start building this farm. So let's get into it. I'm gonna have a panic attack while we're out here. Alright, this is phase 1, by the way, because this is collection and the moving part. Alright, that seems weird. Apparently, this catalyst, this main thing for this entire farm, doesn't get placed near the stone. It's placed over here. Sure. Alright, who's ready for me to try and get an endermite again? Oh, that was easy. And now I need to finish this platform. And I have no intention of building this as big as the one on our enderman farm. Would it help? Maybe. Do I need it? No. And I believe that is the farm now. At least I hope so. So what do you say we go ahead and actually test this out? Alright, so I guess to use this farm, I'm going to need to take out my hoe, Silk Touch specifically. We'll bring these back. And I guess just stand... Okay, before this drives us insane, let me go ahead and change the music and sounds to turn blocks down. And then I just stand here and start breaking. And yeah, this is the farm, now that it's a lot quieter. I'm going to let it run for a few minutes, and we'll see what our drops are. By a few minutes, I think I mean 5, because otherwise I'm going to be here for a while. Just hold a click. And alright, after about 5 minutes, this is what I have in my inventory, so I'm very excited to look forward to what we have actually in the system. But first, because I forgot, I need to make a platform down here for me to actually stand on. So hold on. Alright, and now with the platform actually made, what do we got? Alright, the nether pearl made it in here, that's fine. But look at all that. There's more. That's a lot for just 5 minutes. And this could also be used as an experience farm. You just go ahead and swap out a Silk Touch hoe for a fortune and you got exactly what you need. Yeah, I still have the audio turned down if you could tell, but it's for good reason, I promise. But nonetheless, let's head back to our base now and we'll get started on something else. And now that we're back, the place we're actually going to head next is our villager hall, because in our book, you may remember that I said we were going to be doing some more villager moving, getting in some more librarians, and possibly doing some more decorations. I'm not sure we're actually going to get to that this week. My main thing that I just want to do right now is moving over the villagers, so yeah, let's hop over to the nether and you'll see the number that we have this time. And here's actually the number we have for this week. We have 7 villagers here, and you know the drill. I'm gonna go ahead, take these guys over to the villager hall. I will give them all the librarian job, and I will let you know what enchantments we end up getting from each of these villagers. So let's get started, or else it's gonna take forever. Now, it may seem to be a little excessive for bringing about 7 villagers at the moment, but I'd just like to point out that if I kept going at the rate of only doing like 4 or 6 per week, this might take a lot longer than I'm hoping. Because if I remember correctly, it's 4 groups of 42 that I need to deal with, and well, that comes out to being about 168 villagers. 168 divided by 7 actually turns into a round number of 24, which would mean that I would be spending, well, half of this year actually going and bringing villagers over, which isn't great, but it's a lot more manageable than like 48. So I may need to start upping my numbers to doing about 7 or 8 per week. Alright, there we go. The longer I do this, the harder it gets to actually get new villager enchantments. But now we have Punch, Silk Touch, which are actually the only 2 down on the lower level that are new. Aqua Affinity, Bane of Arthropods, Channeling, Impaling, and Looting. I'm now starting to realize I'm running out of more of the ones that don't have an actual level that I need to focus on, and that's going to be more of a pain in the butt later down the line. But oh well, I'm going for all the enchantments in here anyway, so it's not going to really matter. But that's all I wanted to do at our villager hall, was just move those guys in. So let's head back to our base to grab things for me to start work on our mining village. So I'll meet you guys over there. So the idea for this week is simple. Last time we went ahead and tried out actually exploding some of these areas with some varying successes. And now what I want to try and do is figure out. So yeah, what I want to do is get an idea for how I want these to actually look in the long run. Because yeah, we might have a little bit of like a lip on the outside, and obviously this go further in. By the way, there was a creeper back here last time that I didn't notice. I'm glad I didn't get in trouble for that. But yeah, so I'm gonna try and figure out how this would look when it's actually a little bit more fleshed out. That's why I have all this stone, which is probably not even gonna be enough in all honesty. Alright, so this is kind of what I'm thinking. Because now that we have this placed out, now let me actually go over here and see how it looks from an outside view. Alright, I'll admit, it looks a little bit strange, but we could always fix up the bottom later. But for now, what we'll do is we'll go ahead and tear out a decent bit of this. Kind of just do this, and we'll see how well I can make this look. This is gonna take a while for me, but for you guys get the magic of editing. So I'll see you guys in a bit. And alright, here we are. It does look a bit simplistic, and that's literally just because it's just grass and stone at the moment, but I actually am quite happy with how this turned out. Now don't get me wrong, this obviously isn't the last that we're going to be doing just on this area, because my thought process is I want to add in some buildings in here, maybe, honestly probably about 2 would only fit in about this area. Maybe even get some water going down into here and then spilling off the side would also be interesting, though that's kind of hard with our portal area down there, but we'll see. Not to mention, I might clean this up a little bit more with the roof. I kind of liked the non-uniform blocks just here and there, but some of them do look a little bit weird, especially where I use TNT to blow up the roof a bit. But while I was doing this, I also realized something. This project, or at least this portion of this project as well, would probably benefit from being done during the times of the weekends, just like how it was when I went ahead and dug this whole cylinder out. Mainly because if you guys just kept watching me dig out these holes and then refill them with grass, eventually I feel like you guys get very, very tired of seeing the same thing over and over again, if you haven't already. So yeah, I think that we're honestly just going to kind of put the mining village on a hiatus for the actual parts of the video. Maybe I may hop in and do like a little build project here and there when I feel the need, but for stuff like this where I'm just going to be hollowing out these holes, yeah, that I feel can honestly be done at the beginning portion of the video. Hope you guys don't mind, but I just kind of feel like you guys would rather that be the case instead of having to watch me futz around with this for about an hour. But nonetheless, let's head back to our base so that we can get started on the last thing that we are going to be working on this week. And the last thing that we're actually going to be doing this week is another attempt at what I failed to do last week, which was the smelting system, because I, for some reason, didn't think that my carts would put iron ore chunks into smokers. But you may remember that we went ahead and cleared this out from the frogs, and we don't have too much room to work with here, seeing as this grass literally opens up to the other side. I'll show that actually. See? So not a lot of room, but I think that between weeks I have actually come up with a better plan for how I want to make a smelting system. And this one I've actually tested, so it does actually work. So let's go on and hop over to the other world and I will show you guys what I've created. And this is kind of the design that I landed on for our smelting system. Does it look a little bit strange? Yes, because we also have our crafting stations over here. Yeah, I know, I tested a little bit of redstone beforehand, don't mind that. But this is our bolt smelting system, and let me show you how well it works. So I'm gonna grab items to put in all three of these. Let me also clear the test out. And you know what? We'll even go ahead and make it 2 stacks of each item. So we'll put 2 stacks of pork chops in here. Sorry, getting pulled out. We'll do some iron ore chunks and some gold ore chunks. And then we'll go ahead and put some cobblestone in here, 2 stacks. And there's already been a lot of coal placed into the system, so I don't need to do that. And the way to get this bulk smelting started is we just flip this lever and we wait for the actual smelting to happen. Now, while we're waiting for that to happen, so I can time and see how well this works, this is how big out the back it is. So we've got a few ways for minecarts to be stalled, as you can tell here. We've got a timer here to wait so that this thing could fill up with enough coal to fill up each row of these furnaces, smokers, and blast furnaces. We've got minecarts going across top each of these for their own separate ones, so it actually doesn't go ahead and accidentally put an item into a smelter that can't take said item. So we've got our line of furnaces here, a line of blast furnaces here, and then a line of smokers here. Then we have a minecart running down here, which goes down, picks all the items up, and then comes back and throws all the items into this chest, which you could see is already going a pretty fast rate. And then this little system is connected to the lever, which goes ahead and just can toggle these on or off to keep the minecarts in place. In reality, this whole system is quite simplistic, I would say, but it took me a long while to get all this to work, especially with all the tracks, because sometimes the minecart would just skip a whole track for some reason, and then I'd have to go ahead and figure out what order I'd want these to go in. And also the timer for this, so that it actually picked up enough coal, because this minecart needs to pick up at least 48 pieces of coal to evenly disperse it through all these, because it runs over each one twice. And because it runs over each one twice, and there's 24 here, that's a total of 48. And then we also have on these walls the types of furnaces if I want to just do a small set of smelting, nothing bulk or nothing I want to really AFK for. And then as you saw over here, I have these buttons here that pop up all the crafting stations. This used to be a crafting table, and then I can also hide it. I might change this out. And I've also thought about increasing the room height to about 3, so just increasing it 1 block so that we can move a row of furnaces over to here, as well as decreasing the length of this by half, this room specifically. And the reason for that is because this whole system takes up a lot of space, and like I told you, we don't have that much space in length. And now, seeing as all these have stopped, we have all of our items here, and this actually took about 4 minutes, so that means about a minute per half a stack for each type, which that's honestly, in my opinion, better than what it is when we have to do bulk smelting, and I can just AFK instead of having to like throw it into the furnaces, wait, and then throw it out. This just does it automatically. But with that explanation out of the way, I do want to go ahead and figure out what the size of this room actually is, because in reality it's going to be mainly to here, and this will be like the front. There's not going to be anything in these areas, so yeah, from here all the way to the farthest block here is what I need to figure out. So this is 22 blocks from this block all the way to here. 22. That is still a lot of space. Not to mention the fact that we'd need to hope that this doesn't peek out from underground. So now let's go to our actual world and we will see if this will fit where I want it to fit. Because if it doesn't, I'm going to need to figure out where else I want to put this. Because I'm not changing the design again. This took too many hours for me to not use this design. So when it actually comes to building this, I'm probably going to knock this down to here, have it be flush with the ground. So that means we've got, let's say this is 1. And this is what I was worried about. This is 22 blocks, and you can see it immediately runs into this, which is not great. That is not at all what we want. All right, so that idea is out the window, at least for doing it here. So this might turn into something else then. But then where do we actually put our smelting system? You know, we could try to finally give this some use and then put it back through this way. It gets a decent amount of blocks that go here. It might run into this, but that'd be fine. Here, let's see. Put it here. Take these out. All right, now let's see how far back we can go. And here is how far we are actually able to go, which is what I need. I'm actually going to go ahead and clear this out for the room that's going to be here. So exactly what I showed you, it's going to have the furnaces as well as the crafting stations, and we'll go from there. Alright, so I've already run into an issue, which is this, obviously. And, well, trying to think, because there's two ways I can fix this. I can either keep it like this in terraform, or I can flip these, because if you could tell, this isn't centered, and there's a reason for that, and move the doorway over to here. I'm going to try moving the doorway over to here, we'll see what happens. Alright, yeah, that works actually a lot better because now we don't have any openings. We are close, but I'd rather be close to the outside than actually in the outside. So now, I think what I'm going to go ahead and do is actually decorate this area just the same way I had it. So there'll be a blackstone trim around here, there'll be furnaces on this side, and the crafting stations will be over here. And then I'll have to figure out something for the roof and the floor, but in due time, in due time. This is not going to be enough blackstone, is it? This actually might be enough, but definitely going to need to go get more blackstone at some point. Yeah, surprisingly that was actually enough blackstone for this room. To be quite honest, I don't know what to do for this doorway, so it's just going to stay like this for the time being. Something I also realized is that with these crafting stations, it kind of ruins the whole button push thing because they come up from behind the stairs. So I might change this. We'll see. This will just be left like this for now. Let's get the back wall in. And now what I'm also going to do is go ahead and mine out the area back here. I'm not going to go ahead and put the input and output in here just yet, but we will eventually. For right now, what I want to do is I actually want to dig out the required area that we're going to need to house our actual system, which I do have the measurements here, so let's get started. Alright, this is how much area we actually needed cleared out. And with this, I'm realizing a small issue. And you might be wondering what that issue is. Like, things seem to be going relatively smoothly, at least smoother than last week. But let me just put this into perspective really quick. It's not about space or building. First off, you might notice that my pickaxe is almost broken because of how much digging we've been doing this week. That's not too much of an issue. I could just hop over to the gold farm. But this is the issue. Here I have 37 iron, at least smelted, right? There's a decent bit here. And that's the issue, because let me go back to the world and show you just how much iron we're going to need. So let's take this into account. There is 5 hopper minecarts here. Each of those is 10 iron in itself. That's already 50, that's already over what we have. Not to mention, each of these rows has 2 hoppers leading into each of these smelters. There is 24 smelters, meaning there's 48 hoppers, meaning that it is a total of 240 iron there. So we're at 290 at the moment. Then we have all of the regular rails. I'm not sure how many I actually have here. I would like to say between 16 and 32. So we would need the 32 rails. And also we have a few detector rails here, which also take iron. So we're talking upwards of a little bit over 300 iron, which I don't have smelted currently. Not to mention that I would also need to craft craft all of these blast furnaces, which are actually in the center, that is another 40 iron. So what I'm trying to get at is what I'm going to do is between this week and next week, because we actually do now have the plan down, I'm going to go ahead and gather all the materials that we're going to need to build this, and we will be probably building this next week, which I apologize, I'm pushing this off another week because I just don't have the time nor materials to do this, but next week I'll make sure that we have everything that we need, because not even just that, I need to make all the redstone components too, like the repeaters, comparators. I don't even have a copper bulb. I kind of forgot I'm in creative. But once we have everything crafted, this shouldn't take too long to actually build, hopefully. My main worry is these detector rails, because getting these to work was a pain in the butt. Not to mention these T flip-flop things, because like I said, these kind of run the issue of they hide under these stairs, so I'll have to figure out something with these as well. But then my hope is that next time we're here, we can get all this just done and squared away, completely ready for use, and I'll never have to worry about smelting things ever again. At least for now, until I build a bigger one of these in the future, because I do bigger projects. But yeah, that is actually going to be it for this week. I'm still happy with the progress we made. We went ahead and built our Sculk farm and added more villagers to the villager hall, as well as worked upon our mining village a little bit, kind of got an idea of what I want to do for that even between weeks, and then also got started on this, which this hopefully will only take one more week to finally get completely done. I'm going to be focusing a lot on this next week. But yeah, like I said, that's going to be it. I thank you all for watching. You all take care, have a great week, and I will see you guys hopefully in the next one. Alright, bye-bye.